Hey, it's Joanne from 15 Spatulas, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips for rolling out pie crust, and we're also going to talk all about blind baking. Talk about what exactly it is, why you should be blind baking every pie crust you make. I'm going to show you a couple of different methods for doing it. So I've got my chilled pie dough here, and I'm going to flour the top of it pretty generously. Give it a flip. Flour the board, some more flouring on top. Okay, so you want to grab your rolling pin and start rolling gently from the center out toward the edges. And every couple of rolls, I like to give it a turn just to make sure that it's not sticking to the board. Once you've got it about 1/8 of an inch thick, that's when you want to grab your pie dish. I've got a couple of little tart shells, and we're actually going to do one blind baking method for each of these. I can show you how they differ side by side. Put that in there. I'm just going to do a rough cut with my paring knife. And what you want to do is lift the pie dough up and then press it down into the tart dish. And if you've ever had pie crust shrink up on you, it's probably because the dough was stretched. That's why you want to do this technique and lift it in, push it into those corners to anchor it. Okay, so that looks good. I take my rolling pin and give it a roll on top of the dish. That will cut it for us. Then you can just take the dough right off. It's got perfectly filled tart shell. Before we get into the blind baking methods, let's just talk real quick about what it is and why you want to do it. So blind baking is basically just pre-baking the pie crust before filling it. And the reason you want to do this is because if you don't blind bake the pie crust, it won't get a chance to cook and get golden brown and flaky. It'll be kind of soft and chewy. I've got 2 identical pie crusts here. We're going to do one blind baking method for each of these, and then we're going to compare them at the end. So the problem with just throwing these in the oven is if you do that, the pie crust will bubble up. So the first method of preventing this is docking the pie crust. We're going to take a fork and prick the dough several times all over. Make sure you get the sides too. And then that's it. You can throw that into the oven as is. The other method is to take a piece of parchment paper or foil, you put it right down in the bottom, and then you fill the pie crust with something heavy. I'm using pinto beans. Just make sure that you don't try to eat the beans or rice after you do this. We finished blind baking these, and you can see the 2 side by side. This was the docked one with the fork. This was baked with the beans and parchment. And you can see that this wasn't really too successful, and this is why I don't really do this method, is you really have to dock the heck out of it to get it to not puff up. And this way, even though it's a little bit more work, it's going to give you better results. I hope you enjoyed my pie crust videos. If you have any questions about making pie crust, leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post every Thursday afternoon. And do me a favor, click the like button below if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you this Thursday for another recipe.